Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. We've got some breaking news tonight. So just last night, when I was in this chair, I spoke with MS Now Justice correspondent Ken Delanian about the wild behavior and spending of one Kash Patel, the far-right podcaster turned director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He hasn't spent a lot of time at the Bureau or been investigating much of anything, from what we can tell, but he spent a lot of time at sporting events and at concerts, drinking, partying, snorkeling at the Pearl Harbor Memorial, which is a little bit of an odd choice, traveling on his own government jet with his country music singing girlfriend. Well, today, Patel responded to some of MS Now's own reporting on how he spends his time in the government's resources, writing on social media, quote, "My jet ski is gold-plated, dumbass. Your job is to lie. Mine is to protect the American people, and business is good." Well, now tonight, the breaking news. We have exclusive MS Now reporting suggests Donald Trump isn't so happy with the job Patel is doing. The FBI director abruptly canceled a planned flight Friday to see his girlfriend in Chicago just as he was preparing to leave after top administration officials, frustrated with Patel, summoned him to the White House, according to two people with knowledge of the change. There appear to be several reasons for Patel's recall. Some in the White House reportedly found it confounding that the FBI director was leaving town amid the recent revival of the war with Iran and alleged threats against the president's life, according to a person familiar with efforts to help Patel rebuild trust with the White House. Another issue seems to be reports by MS Now and others about how Patel's lavish travel is being footed by you and I. Sources said there is at least one other unforced error. That would be the tweet today blasting us here at MS Now. Carol Leonnig is the MS Now senior investigative reporter who broke this story with colleagues Jacqueline Alemany, Ken Delanian, Vaughn Hilliard, and Jake Traylor. When you've got 5 bylines, you know you could take it to the bank. Carol Leonnig. Well, so what were the circumstances, as best you can tell from your reporting, about how this was communicated to Patel? And then did he go to the White House?
He did. In fact, according to our reporting and our sources, he was basically commandeered back to the White House with plans to spend all of the day there. You know, Chris, when we first started this reporting, we were looking at, confirming, corroborating reports that he was scheduled to go to Chicago to visit his girlfriend. It's become a familiar pattern that he takes his jet to go see his girlfriend perform at various events. And this time it was at a country music street festival in Chicago, which is hosted in the parking lot of a large Chicago stadium. He was going to go to that event. He had, according to sources, scheduled a field office visit in Chicago, which FBI agents found really insulting. They felt like that was just a cover for him to be able to go see his girlfriend without any, annoying questions from reporters. That's how we started our day of reporting. But then we learned from our sources that on the tarmac this morning, Kash Patel was in a panic. He had to cancel the trip. He had to get to the White House stat because he was being ordered to come back basically to the principal's office to answer some questions and do some work. And there were a number of reasons. I have to tell you, I wish I knew precisely which one was the most important. And we don't know that yet, Chris. But you can imagine the 3 that you listed, right? We're at war with Iran. Iran tries to kill the president by recruiting people in the United States to kill him here. Number 2, he tweeted a very strange thing at MS Now about calling one of our columnists a dumbass and bragging about a jet ski that was gold-plated. And then third, the reason is that we've heard is that, one of Trump's most important and reliable allies in the Senate, Republican Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, is now frustrated with Patel and trying to get answers to questions about the expenses of his travel to Milan, why he purchased BMWs that were armor-plated so that he can more discreetly get around town. These are some of the reasons that have been cited to us about why the White House is kind of up to here with Patel and wanted him back at headquarters.
I just have to mention the irony here, which is that the White House loves to talk about fake news and all this stuff, but they actually know the reporting is solid and good and also respond to the reporting. You don't have to say that. I'm going to say that. But just to be clear here, right? I just want to note, just to fill out the details here, Alexis Wilkins is his girlfriend's name. She'll be performing at the Windy City Smokeout in Chicago, Illinois, in the parking lot of the United Center. I have to say, a musical festival outdoors in Chicago in the summer is basically as good as it gets. You can hardly blame a guy for wanting to go. And I also got to say, all other things considered, he does seem to be a good boyfriend. But this is what Stephen Chung had to say about the reporting, and it's notable, so I'm going to read it to you. He issued a statement without responding to specific questions about Patel's canceled trip. He said, under President Trump and Director Patel's leadership at the FBI, crime across the country has plummeted to the lowest level in more than 100 years. That, by the way, is debatable, although it has gone down. And many high-profile criminals have been put behind bars. I suppose that's true, although a lot of others have been pardoned. Director Patel remains a critical player of the administration's law and order team. Notable here, there's not any denials, not any fake news, not any name-calling.
No, that's true. They reserved that for X, where they come after us for some of our reporting. Chris, we feel very solid about this, and for lots of reasons, some of which you've alluded to. I want to say hats off to the MS Now team that jumped into this breach when we began this morning, thinking we had one story, and then we had a very different one, and then we had, really moving target in terms of a potentially really huge story. The White House angry at Patel, and it's not the first time. A trip canceled on the tarmac, a big deal.
Yeah.
But I really value the colleagues on this byline: Jackie Alamany, Jake Traylor, Ken Delanian, Vaughn Hilliard. I mean, none of this would be possible without them, and thanks to all of them.
Let me just reiterate one more thing, because you said it at the top, but I just want to come back to it, because just when you think about it, you've got this reporting. He obviously is under scrutiny for these trips. He's obviously under scrutiny for flying the plane and reporting, in which, again, I'm going to quote, this is actually from a letter to Patel by Raskin Senator Durbin that says, a credible source relayed, you told field offices in a meeting last year, if you have golf, hockey, fishing, or hunting in beautiful sites, you're going to see a lot of me. Not really hiding the ball there. After this reporting, he's sitting on the tarmac to go to Chicago, which just happens to be the city that his girlfriend is performing at a musical festival, and has arranged a visit to the Chicago field offices. It feels like he's doing the thing, right? The whole reporting you had yesterday is he comes up with these sort of ostensible cover stories for travel so that he can go and hang out. And now here he is sitting on the tarmac this morning, bound for Chicago for ostensibly a visit to the field office.
Yes. And, this is kind of what got him into such hot water with Trump the last time. I mean, we have this reporting from a while ago now, Chris, but just to underline it for your viewers, who I know are paying close attention to you and what you have to say, let me just repeat. In February, when we reported that Kash Patel was on the tarmac about to leave for Milan, and that FBI agents internally said he was going because he wanted to see the men's ice hockey team play in the Olympics, we were told by the FBI, oh, no, it's a business trip. And we got all this these pieces of paper, essentially, that said he's got this meeting, he's got that meeting, he's got all this security stuff he's working on, he's got a diplomatic meeting. And later on, we learned from FBI sources that no, all of those were arranged as cover for him to go see the men's ice hockey team play at the Olympics, which they won. Amazing. I'm sure a lot of people would have liked to be there. But Kash Patel could not say, honestly, that, he went because he wanted to see the men's ice hockey team play in the Olympics. That is not something he could apparently deign to say.
Right.
But yet that's what all the records show. And this pattern, I'm really glad you flagged the tarmac moment, because he's getting a letter from a huge Trump ally saying, can you please answer my questions about your travel and why it's justified?
Yes.
And then he's heading to Chicago to go see his girlfriend play, which is one of the things he got in trouble with Trump with before. The hockey was kind of almost the last straw for Donald Trump. He really confronted Kash Patel and said, It's not a good look, dude. It's not a good look. And yet, such an important point for you to highlight that this is literally what he was doing Friday morning until it got cut short.
Love will make a person do crazy things. Carol Leonnig, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So step back for a second. This isn't just a story about a jet ski or a country music festival. It's a pattern. An FBI director allegedly using cover stories to justify personal travel on the taxpayer's dime, while a Senate ally demands answers and the White House itself pulls him back mid-trip. What's striking is the timing. A war with Iran, real threats against the president, and the man running the FBI reportedly focused on Chicago. It raises real questions about accountability at the top of federal law enforcement. So ask yourself, how many field office visits does it take before oversight catches up? And who's really watching the watchman? We'll keep following this one closely. If you found this report insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real, fact-based news commentary.